Mr. Steven Spielberg himself is coming on to DC to direct the movie adaptation of Blackhawks. Find out what that could mean for the DC world of movies right here. I can't say DC Cinematic Universe, right? That's Marvel's. Steven Spielberg has cranked out some of the best movies over the last several decades. Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, the list goes on and on. I'm just as excited as most people are that he is now dipping his toe into the superhero universe. And I particularly am excited that he's coming on to DC to direct Blackhawks. Now, this is all very fresh. This just came out yesterday. This is still a little ways off. He still has to direct Indiana Jones 5 and West Side Story before he jumps into this. So we're talking the 2020, 2021, 2020. But it's not too early to get excited about this because I think that this means some big things for DC.
I love it. I love bringing people together. How are we?
It's no secret that the DC movies have been struggling. The Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to have a formula that is working for them, and they are making some fantastic movies, and the way that they're all tied together and layered and these different phases is just tremendous. In some ways, I think DC is trying to catch up to that, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, that they just got to carve their own path. DC comics are very different in tone and stories than Marvel. So it only makes sense that their movies should also be different.
I was just trying to get you there.
I know a lot of people got really excited when they heard Steven Spielberg and DC in the same sentence or in the same headline, and their imagination started going wild that, oh, is he going to do a Batman film or a Superman, or is he taking over Justice League, Legion of Doom movies, or what's he doing? And then to find out that he's directing Blackhawk, which is not as well known of a comic title, although it has history that goes back even further than Superman and Batman and has a great long legacy in the comic book world. I think this is exciting because, one, the idea of Spielberg doing a Blackhawks movie is a perfect fit. The story of Blackhawks being a World War II group of fighter pilots that are taking down Nazis seems like a bullseye in Spielberg's wheelhouse. Maybe it takes a home run like this with Spielberg directing a World War II comic-based superhero movie to put the DC movies back in the running and getting them a little bit of momentum.
That feels like an oversimplification.
Now, there's already rumors floating around that some of the Blackhawk pilots were featured in the Wonder Woman movie, and so there may be a possible tie-in or overlap in there. But certainly this will not be the first time that we've seen Blackhawks in the movies. Blackhawks were featured in movie serials back in 1952, and they were also featured in the DC animated movie New Frontier. Again, they weren't quite named, but they were in there. I, for one, am excited about this. You got hotshot fighter pilots in World War II taking down Nazis, helmed by Steven Spielberg. I mean, what's not to like?
Whoa, we're just here to help.
Of course, the rumors are going to start flying out of control now of what this means for DC, that Steven Spielberg is now going to be taking over the DC wing of Warner Brothers. And Steven Spielberg has had a long history with Warner Brothers. He just released Ready Player One under their banner and has had several other movies in the past that have been released with Warner Brothers. So this is nothing new that he is in talks with them and negotiating with them. But specifically that he's going to be working with the DC brand is exciting because I think, one, it opens the door for other possibilities. Perhaps that he will serve as producer for other DC films, or he can bring his own vision and take to the DC universe. And I think he is a logical choice to bring that tone around.
You know who's going to be there? Superman, Wonder Woman, people like that.
Where Spielberg thrives is in those action-adventure, fun, popcorn, blockbuster movies. And I think that that's where DC fits, and that's where they should be.
This means something. It's all some people have. It's all that gives them hope.
Whether Spielberg has a direct tie to the DC movies going forward, or this one movie is put out there as an example of what the movies could be, I think it's all positive for DC. Now, obviously, this is very early, and as always, things in Hollywood have a tendency to change and switch around at the last minute, so none of this is locked in stone, but I think it's a positive step in the right direction, at the very least, just to know that DC is looking at other directors and looking at a way of expanding their catalog of comic book movies and aren't just sticking to their staples of Batman, Superman, Justice League people, but kind of spreading their wings and getting into these other areas, these other lesser known comics, if you will.
It's the Blackhawks who fight for liberty and freedom. I will return to them.
And by the way, Mr. Spielberg, if you are watching and looking for an actor to play Blackhawk, I'm your guy. Certainly willing to shave and maybe even work out a little bit, and let's take down some Nazis. So there's the big news for the day. If you're interested in hearing more about this or seeing what else is going on in the DC world, just hit subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. And as always, I'm Andy Knode. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. You got Hotshot Fighter, not to mention his producing work from Animaniacs and Animaniacs.